Welcome to the channel, my name is Grizzy, and today we have a brand new Apex Legends weapon tier list. With the update to Season 12, several hop-ups and weapons have been changed to shake up the meta. This list and weapons guide is going to help you to find your perfect loadout and learn the ins and outs to the weapons for Season 12. Now if you guys are new here, my channel is all about helping you to improve at Apex Legends to get you on that championship banner. So consider subscribing so you don't miss out on videos like this one, and let's hop right into this weapons tier list. Now keep in mind this video is my opinion and fits my playstyle. We're also going to rank weapons based on their overall performance. Certain weapons require lots of hop-ups and attachments, so we will take a look at each weapon and how it will be used in most scenarios throughout your gameplay. To start off this list, we have the Bocek bow and the P2020 in D tier. The P2020 is just simply not viable without the hammer point hop-up, and the hammer points do have the most effect on this weapon. However, you need a hop-up for this gun to be viable and to be usable at mid to late game. If you pick up the P2020 off the drop, it's usually not going to win you fights, and you'll typically want to replace it with any other weapon. This is why the P2020 finds itself in D tier for me. The Bocek compound bow is its own kind of weapon and uses arrows for ammunition. This is one of the largest reasons why this weapon is ranked so low, as it's difficult to find arrows throughout the match to use this weapon consistently from start to finish. This marksman weapon is capable of up to 105 damage per headshot if you're able to be accurate with it, but it's pretty difficult to use and not viable at close range. The Bocek is limited in comparison to other weapons, leaving it pretty low in this tier list. Making up our C tier is the Devotion, Havoc, RE45, Alternator, Charge Rifle, Repeater, L-Star, and EVA 8. Now whoa, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for placement of certain weapons on this list. Don't click away, just keep in mind this is my opinion and playstyle, and I'm going to get into more details about why these weapons need some hop-ups in order to be good and usable. The Devotion LMG can be devastating if you're able to get its fire rate going and get all the attachments and turbocharger hop-up. The Devotion does have a pretty sizable recoil, and the weapon, like I said, just isn't super viable without it kitted out. And if you do get it all the way looted out, yes, it can be very viable. However, for the most part, the Devotion is extremely lackluster. The Havoc is like a smaller version of the Devotion LMG. It has more manageable recoil than the Devo, and it can beam enemies at close range once you get the fire rate going. It does less damage per round and has a smaller magazine than the Devotion. You'll want to prioritize finding a turbocharger so you can get the Havoc up to speed as quickly as possible and also grab an extended energy mag. But like I said before, most often you will not have these attachments, making the Havoc a lackluster weapon that you'll want to switch out for other assault rifles in the game. Next up, we have the RE45. This weapon does boast a high fire rate, has controllable recoil, and excellent hipfire accuracy. Just like the hammer point weapons, this gun isn't super viable mid to late game unless you have that hammer point hop up. Yes, this gun can be very solid with the hammer points, however without them it really falls short in mid-range engagements. That's why the RE45 sits here as C tier for me. Now I know there's going to be so many people in the comments trying to roast me for putting the Alternator so low on the list, but hear me out. For people who have good recoil control with weapons like the R99 or the Car SMG, the Alternator just simply does not do enough damage to warrant placing higher in this tier list. Yes, this weapon is very beginner friendly to those newer players, but when I come across an R99, a Car, or an R301, I'm going to immediately drop the Alternator for one of these weapons. Yes, the Alternator is very easy to control compared to some of those other weapons. However, it has a 160 DPS, which is pretty low, making it a C tier weapon for me. Another weapon I might catch a lot of hate for is the Charge Rifle. Yes, the Charge Rifle can be a fine weapon to use, especially at long ranges. It's excellent for farming shields and ranked, and it's exceptionally easy to use since it's hit scan. However, the Charge Rifle finds itself here due to its low versatility. The Charge Rifle has very little application at close range, and I personally just am not a fan of using this weapon. Following the Charge Rifle, the Repeater had a new change in Season 12 where you can hip fire with the Shatter Cap attachment, and it will give you a reliable hip fire at close range. The 30-30 Repeater does have strong medium range potential, low recoil, and is an efficient weapon with ammo. However, it has some pretty significant bullet velocity drop off and honestly is inferior to weapons like the Triple Take. The The triple take is more viable at short, medium, and long range as compared to the repeater, so we have the repeater here at C tier even after its changes in Season 12. The L-Star is an energy ammo LMG that doesn't have to reload but can overheat if used without rest for too long. While this gun lacks the precision of some of its longer range counterparts, it kills pretty quickly at short range, but you need to get used to its slow bullet velocity. The iron sights feel pretty terrible, and the weapon is just bulky as well. If you're going to utilize an LMG, there are far better weapons to utilize versus the L-Star. Lastly, in C tier, we have the EVA 8, and honestly, since the EVA received its nerf with fire rate and the introduction of the kinetic feeder and hammer point rounds, make me believe the EVA is the worst shotgun in the game. The Mosin with hammer points is more reliable than taking someone down with the EVA 8, and then the Mastiff and PK do hit much harder than the EVA 8. Next up, we have the B tier, and these weapons are solid picks or useful in certain situations. If you happen to come across any of these, they're worth taking a minute to think about unless you're already kitted out with an A or S tier loadout. The weapons making up our B tier are the Mozambique, Hemlock, R99, Prowler, Sentinel, and Longbow. Now I know what you're thinking, why is the Mozam rated higher than the EVA 8? This is mainly due to its consistency when firing. The Mozam hits for 57 to the head without hammer points, 45 to the body, and 42 to the legs. Once you add on the hammer points, this thing absolutely shreds and can be a game changer as a secondary weapon. Don't sleep on the Mozam this season, especially with the hammer point hop up, because adding a hammer point hop up and a purple shotgun bolt to the Mozam, this thing could be an A tier type of weapon. Next up, we have the Hemlock, which is great at mid and long range. You really want to utilize it 2 times or 3 times with this weapon to be truly efficient at range. However, the Hemlock just doesn't put out enough damage at close range. Although the Hemlock could arguably be more efficient at range than the Flatline or R301, these other weapons are just much more effective at close range and medium range as compared to the Hemlock. Due to this, the Hemlock is a B tier weapon in Season 12. The R99 is an SMG that does 198 DPS without hitting any headshots. Each round of light ammunition only deals 11 damage, but when the R99 can get through a full 20 round magazine in just over a second, a single spray from the SMG can be pretty deadly. This weapon does have a lot of recoil to control, and you'll want to get your hands on an extended mag and barrel stabilizer to maximize the damage with the R99. The Car SMG for me just puts out more damage than the R99, making the R99 remain as a B tier weapon. Prowler SMG is next up, and the burst shoots 15 damage rounds in quick succession with incredible accuracy and minimal recoil. The Prowler is devastating at close range and can really drop enemies fast. However, this weapon is extremely limited in its versatility. For me, you need to run this weapon as your secondary because it's not going to be able to do anything at any other range other than close range. This is why the Prowler is a B tier weapon. Next up, we have the Sentinel, which does good damage, but it does have a lot of recoil and incredibly low rate of fire. There are some benefits, especially if you're willing to sacrifice some precious shield cells to amp up the sniper's damage. The new Deadeye's Tempo hop-up increases its rate of fire with subsequent shots. However, it doesn't appear to be enough of a buff to move the Sentinel from a mid-tier weapon. The Longbow has been a consistent performer in the Apex games due to its fairly high fire rate and decent damage. You can now craft this weapon for 30 crafting materials at any crafting station. The Longbow is a solid sniper in the Apex games, but for me personally, I prefer to use a wingman or assault rifle as my primary to give me more versatility at ranges. Hey guys, right before we head into A tier, I just want to thank you for making it this far, and if you could drop a like on the video, I would greatly appreciate it. Now let's get right back into these top tier weapons. Now with the A tier, these are some great choices, all of them well worth of trying out. The weapons that make up the A tier are the Car SMG, Flatline, Rampage, Triple Take, Mastiff, and PK. Overall, the Car is a very strong SMG and probably one of the strongest in the game. It has a very high fire rate, although it's not as fast as the R99, but it does more damage than the R99. This gives the Car SMG the highest damage per second for any full auto weapon in the game. The Car also takes any heavy or light extended mag, which makes it very versatile with which ammo type you want to run. The Car is an A tier weapon. The Flatline is now a craftable weapon at any crafting station, and it will set you back 30 crafting materials, but you will get some ammo with it as well. Even though the fire rate of this weapon is still impressive, its damage stats have been slightly reduced. Instead of dealing 19 damage per shot, it now deals 18. This may seem like an insignificant reduction, but it becomes quite noticeable if it was your go-to weapon. However, this gun still has incredible hipfire and is definitely versatile at all ranges. The Rampage is next up on the list, and although it was reduced reduced with its damage from 28 to 26, this thing still shreds, especially with the thermite added to rev it up. The amount of rev shots you can do with the Rampage has also been reduced from 40 to 34, but it still will be powerful enough to annihilate any enemy. There's nothing scarier than facing a revved up Rampage, but the slow fire rate of this weapon keeps it as A tier versus an S tier weapon. And now, even though its damage has been reduced from 23 to 21 per bullet, the triple take itself can do a lot of damage at its base level. For me, the triple take feels like the best weapon to utilize if you want something for longer ranges, especially in ranked, and it also has excellent hip fire that you can use like a shotgun as well. The triple take also received a brand new hop up called the kinetic feeder. The hop up speeds up the choke time with this weapon and automatically reloads it when you're sliding. This means that you won't have to worry about remembering to reload it when you're getting low on shots. Next up, we have the Mastiff and the Peacekeeper. The Mastiff, which does high damage when you play aggressively. The dual shell hop up is a nice addition to the game and allows you to reload quickly in order to get back in action. And then the Peacekeeper has the precision choke built into the shotgun, meaning you'll be able to charge up those shots right away for maximum damage. If you're running Gibraltar, I definitely recommend utilizing the Peacekeeper. It's a very good shotgun and vital in bubble fights. Finally, we have our S tier weapons, and these are the absolute best guns in the game. Of course, we have every single care package weapon as S tier, but we actually have 2 weapons as ground loot here as S tier as well. Our S tier weapons are the Kraber, Spitfire, Scout, Volt, Wingman, and R301. Since the care package weapons all deservedly do massive damage and have high versatility, we'll keep all these weapons in the S tier category. However, I do feel like the bow should go into the care package and a weapon like the Volt or the Scout should come out. I think the bow actually reduces the amount of viable loot as the arrows take up ammo options that could be used for multiple weapons. Apex should put the bow in the package and maybe give it to us like they had it when it dropped back in Season 9. Now moving on, the Wingman is one of the most powerful guns in Apex Legends in the right hands, especially with an extended mag. You'll need plenty of practice to make sure you hit your shots even at long ranges, but the Wingman has a very high skill ceiling. The boosted loader hop-up is also absolutely amazing added to this weapon, giving you a faster reload and tons of more shots in the mag. If you're skilled with the Wingman, you can take down targets extremely fast. And then last but not least, we have a great all-arounder in Apex Legends. The R301 is the best Apex Legends gun for mid-range engagements. Although it offers some of the best iron sights in the game, attachments really bring out the best in the R301, particularly a mid-range scope and an extended magazine. Try pairing it with a 2x bruiser and a 3x sight, and it will absolutely beam with very little recoil. Alright guys, so that's it. Those are my Apex Season 12 weapon rankings. I want to hear your opinions below, so make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments how you would change this tier list. Thanks again guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm Grizzy, and I'm out. Peace.